Hey friends. I wanted to check in with you guys. Been sick for the past few days. Ended up on the couch from Friday morning until time to come to work tonight. Just there's something going around, I think. I wanted to. I love. When I find stuff that I find amusing, I want to share it with y'all, especially when it's scriptural. I find it. The good Lord is so. He's got a sense of humor. If for y'all that don't know, he's got a funny sense of humor. So, the first full day that I was on the couch, it's just, honest to goodness, if I wasn't throwing up, thought I was just having the sweating sickness or something. I don't know. Like, it was rough. Like, I haven't been that sick in a while. And called out of work, for y'all that know me. It's a big deal if I'm not at work. And I was sitting there just, Lord, whatever it is, if it's, if this is a spiritual thing, if this is a, whatever, like, if you'll just touch me, like, just heal me, let this pass. And the first thing that came to my mind, and sometimes I don't know if it's just me in my head, or if it's God telling me something. Sometimes the voices sound the same. And the first thing that came to my mind was, Sarah, you've been working 18 and 20-hour days for over a year now. Like, just appreciate the virus and go with it. So I drank me some water and I went back to sleep, and I slept for 2 days. I slept for 2 days, guys. I got up today and I was reading in here, and I was looking back in 1 Kings. Usually, like, I can appreciate a good Bible reading plan, but if I just, sometimes once you get past a certain point, you have to, like, have him point you in the direction where he wants you to go. Especially if you're looking to hear an answer for something. And I've been praying for something for a hot minute now, but today he led me to 1 Kings, and I thought, okay, so I got me to 1 Kings 19, and I'd heard this talked about in several instances in the past, where sometimes being quiet, that God tends to talk to his people. Like, his sheep know his voice, obviously, that's one thing, but a lot of times he'll speak in the still small voice, that, when Elijah went up onto the mountain, and a big wind passed, and then a fire passed, and, all that stuff, but then God wasn't in those. He was in the still small voice, Okay, so I was reading in that, and it brought me to that, but it didn't bring me to that specific part of the chapter. It brought me to the first part of that chapter, okay? It was when I pulled it up to reread it here. It's when Ahab and Jezebel have a conversation about what Elijah said, and Jezebel sends him a message like, if what was it? May God strike me down and even kill me by this time tomorrow if I have not killed you just like you have killed them. And Elijah fled in fear for his life. And he got to Beersheba, And he left all of his servants there, and he went out into the wilderness by himself. And he lays down and he goes to sleep. And an angel wakes him up and is like, hey, you need to eat something. So he gets up. I'm sorry, I'll come to it. He gets up and he sees that there's a bread and water, like fresh bread that's been left on the rock next to his head. And he gets up and he eats the bread and he drinks the water and he's like, all right, go back to sleep. And he goes back to sleep and he rests again. And then God wakes him up again. He's like, hey, you need to eat a little bit more. You need to, get some more food in you because you got a journey in front of you. He eventually, if you've read the story, he travels on for 40 days and 40 nights after that. But I always, in my head, I'm thinking, he's running through the wilderness, he's crying out to God, and he's like, God, I'm freaking out, this woman's going to try to kill me, knowing all of Elijah's background and all the things that he did, and Jezebel is what's freaking him out. In my head, I'm thinking of the narrative that's going on, the conversation in heaven is what I'm thinking in my mind. And God's just, in my head, I'm thinking God's just looking around like he needs to chill out. His rest is, God's like, eat some food and take a nap, son. The answer to his freaking out over Jezebel is you need to eat some. I just think that's so funny. I think that's so funny that he's just he travels all day long and he wears himself out. And he goes through all this work. And he's terrified for his life. He's freaking out. And God he stops at this place and he goes to sleep in the wilderness, he's by himself. And God sends an angel to tell him, it's you need to eat something. It reminds me of the Snickers Hangry commercial. It's you're not yourself when you're angry. And I thought that was so funny because remembering what I thought in my mind about God's you've been working overtime overtime for well over a year. When I started working at Hanover, I started pulling 20-hour days, sometimes even more than that, and I did that for 10 months, and my days are still 18 and 20-hour days, and that's been since the end of May. So it's been well over a year. And that he's just just appreciate the stomach virus. This is what's going to get you in bed. Get some sleep. Don't even worry about food at this point. You just stop. And then that's where it brings me to, I just think it's funny. He's just get you some sleep, bro. Just chill out and take a nap. I think that's funny. I think sometimes we forget, I forget, anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but I forget that I'm not 18 anymore. And in all honesty, I didn't work this hard at 18. So I encourage, if you're in a space to where you just feel like you're going from day to day, from one day to the next, and they all run together, and when you realize it's August, before you know it, it's going to be Christmas, and you have that headspace, I encourage you to just take a step back and don't forget to appreciate the day that you're in, the day that God has given you, the ability to rest. He wants us to rest. It's not just for us, and I I don't want to get too far into the semantics of the Sabbath and things like that, because that's neither here nor there at this moment. The point is that all of the creatures, the animals, even the land, God tells us to allow them to rest. You know, like everybody gets time. Everything gets time. Every 7 years, you're not supposed to plow your fields because you're supposed to allow the soil to rest. Otherwise, you're going to dry it out and it's not going to produce anything. Like, everything that was created under God's hand has been given the leadway, the freedom, and the instruction to rest. And we're the same thing. We're not excluded from that. So I think that if you're in a space to where you catch yourself just going from one day to the next, and before you even realize it, that all this time is gone, and it's like, oh, well, it's this month or next month or whatever, and then a month has passed, or a year has passed, or whatever, or you're, used to be in your 20s, now you're in your 30s, and you're like, I was just in my 20s, and now I'm in my 30s, and I don't know what's going on. It's stuff like that. If you find yourself losing time, I just encourage you to take a step back and just rest in the moment. And if anyone knows the excuse of, well, I can't rest because if I rest, if I take a break, then this is going to fall behind. I'm going to have to work harder. Yeah. Yep, I know that one really, really well. And you're either going to rest voluntarily. Sorry, I'm at work. You're either going to rest voluntarily, or you're going to be forced to rest when your body shuts down. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. If you push yourself and you push yourself without giving yourself a level of rest, even if it's just for half a day, for an hour, for a day, then your body's going to make you do it. And I get it. It's hard when, especially if you're having to do everything for yourself. If you have a home and a job, or more than one job, and school and work and bills and all of the things, family to take care of, all of those things, I get it. Especially when you're the only one that's there to do it. But you can't pour from an empty cup, and I know that's cliche, but it's cliche because it's used so often, and it's used so often because it's the truth. So I encourage you to take, I finally put in for some vacation time, and I'm looking at doing something that I've never done before. I'm going to take a pottery class. I'm going to make me some bowls, whatever. It's something. Get back into drawing again. Just anything that gives you a space to just be you and do you. I highly recommend it.
657.
I love you guys. And I hope that you take some time for yourself. Regardless of what that looks like, even if it's just for a little while. Sometimes it's just having a snack and taking a nap. That cracked me up. That made me tickle. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to work. It's midnight. Take care of yourself. Seriously. There's only one you. There's only ever gonna be one you.
669.
Alright. There's only one you. There's only ever gonna be one you. You deserve to be taken care of, even if you're the one that has to do it. I will be praying for you. And I hope you have a beautiful night. Love you guys.